Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a drink. It is time for some Path of Exile 2 discussion. At the time I'm recording this video, it is 1 hour and 10 minutes away from a league start for Path of Exile 2's 0.5.0 expansion, and a bunch of us are having trouble downloading the standalone client, myself included. I've got a fair bit of it downloaded, but it's not all there. Anyways, it is being worked on and it does seem to be improving slowly, so keep trying it. What I wanted to do now, though, is point out a number of the cool things that have been data mined out of the patch. Now that the patch is out there, there's a whole bunch of information that's been found, and we're going to be able to talk in today's video, which I want to keep short, and I also am not going to be able to touch up as much in post-production as I normally would, so sorry if there's a couple of little things in there that I'd normally get edited out, but I want to talk about all of the various ring bases that are being added. Now, many of these are going to be coming exclusively from Breach, but we don't know for certain on all of them. First up is the two-stone ring. Now, my POE 2DB is not able to load this, but other people have told me that it is 12 to 16% to two specific resistances. So this is something that exists in Path of Exile 1 as well. This might be being added to the base drop pool, and we'll know that information for sure once they start getting found in-game. Alternately, if it's Breach only, that's going to be another thing that will pull you in the direction of Breach. It's not the best of the rings, but it is a big problem solver, and it is better than the other resistance rings in the game, so definitely has something that may be useful. Secondly is one that is also playing into the resist realm, and that is the biostatic ring. A lot of people's first reaction to this is, oh my god, this looks amazing, and that was actually my first reaction. I have changed my position on this. I think it is solid. I think you can definitely justify using this, but I also don't think it's quite as good as it looks. Note that all maximum resistances does include chaos resist, so that is something that's quite useful. The reason that I don't mark this as being absolutely stunning, best in slot for every build or anything like it, even though it's quite good defensively, is that the next ring, the Vitalic ring, is incredibly strong defensively. And this is Path of Exile 2, not Path of Exile 1. 6% increased maximum life is kind of closer to 5.5% more life on a lot of builds, because you just can't get much increased maximum life percent as a stat on characters. Now, you can get it in a couple of places, but even if you've got a really top-end decked out character for life stacking, you're going to find that this is a big chunk of life. So Vitalic Ring, this is so much better than it looks. If you were to think of this in terms of Path of Exile 1, how good this stat would be there, you would actually want to compare it to something that read like 15% increased maximum life, maybe. It's likely to be that good. So yeah, this is the singular best ring, in my opinion, the singular best base in the game, and something that people will definitely want to be crafting on. I think if you're playing a life-based build, you want to use a Vitalic ring unless you just happen to get some other ring base that has extraordinary explicit modifiers on it, and grasping rings are something that could potentially be in that, or the breach rings in general. Mnemonic ring is next. Most builds don't want this. The builds that do want it though, this has definitely got some power for it. 5% increased maximum mana. That's something that's solid, but it just doesn't have the same power boost that the Vitalic ring does, because it's easier to get percentage increased maximum mana from other sources. So you're not going to get quite as much from it. Kinetic ring comes next. Path of Exile 1 players, here's your steel ring. This is going to be really solid. 8 to 12 physical damage to attacks is something that a lot of attack builds just want. And there's also a belt that plays into a similar side of design space as well. That belt is the forking belt, and it is going to, it's not actually showing up because POE 2DB is getting hammered at the moment, but it is 1 to 30 lightning damage is its stat. A Neuric Ring, 17% increased chaos damage. It's kind of hard to scale chaos damage in Path of Exile 2 at the moment. What that means is that a Neuric Ring is more of a buff if you want this stat than it would otherwise be, but at the same time, you probably don't want this stat on a lot of builds. That doesn't mean that there's no one that wants it. It just means that it's not going to be something that everyone is going to be looking for. It's definitely a problem solver for niche builds. Again, this is Path of Exile 1 design. This is the Iolite ring for Path of Exile 1, brought into Path of Exile 2. And then we have the grasping ring, which is cool. Now, a big question here, I don't know what's going to happen if you were to put one of the new meta crafting mods into the grasping ring. That's going to be something that someone's going to have to test. What happens when you put in something that reads, a rune that reads, socketed item can roll explicit modifiers that are decay tagged? That's not the exact wording, but that's what it basically does. What happens if you socket that into the grasping ring? Does it have its own decay tagged modifier pool? If so, maybe this is something cool. Anyways, this is something that is going to be interesting. A lot of the time, this is going to be inferior to other rings, but if there's something really specific to your build that has a lot of power on it that is in the glove slot, then that is going to be really good. Anyways, that is the new ring bases. On top of that, there's a whole bunch of other things, but I'm going to put a link down in the description below to POE 2DB so that you can check this out. And you can then go and have a look. Just expect that this site is going to be struggling a bit under the load of all of the people clicking it. For example, I wanted to check out Skyfall's stats, and while someone in my Twitch chat was able to get it, I was not. And I think this is just going to be an ongoing problem for the next little while over on that site. But that's just the way that it works. Likewise, I'd love to check out some of these legacy items, but again, can't do that yet. That will just be a matter of waiting. May your Varlorbs have interesting results. And if you're interested in checking out, I'm going to be streaming over on Twitch over the first sort of 12 or 14 hours of the league. So that's twitch.tv/Sirgog.